The story of Shanda Sharer is a chilling reminder of how teenage jealousy and peer pressure can spiral into unimaginable horror. In January 1992, in the small town of Madison, Indiana, a brutal crime shattered the community's sense of peace. At the heart of it all was a love triangle involving 15-year-old Amanda Heavrin and 16-year-old Melinda Loveless. When 12-year-old Shanda Sharer began dating Amanda, she unknowingly stepped into a deadly trap set by Melinda's consuming jealousy. This isn't just a story about a crime. It's a look into the dark side of teenage relationships and the devastating consequences of unchecked rage. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. The plan was hatched by Melinda Loveless, who couldn't stand the thought of Amanda being with someone else. She recruited 3 other girls, 15-year-old Lori Tackett, 16-year-old Hope Rippey, and 17-year-old Toni Lawrence. On the night of January 10, 1992, their envy turned into a concrete, horrific plot. Toni Lawrence, who knew Shanda, was used as bait. Under the guise of taking her to meet Amanda, Toni lured Shanda out of her home in the early hours of January 11th and into a car with Melinda, Lori, and Hope. Shanda, trusting and unsuspecting, thought she was going to see her girlfriend. Instead, she was driven to a remote location known as the Witch's Castle, an abandoned and eerie stone house. What happened next is incredibly difficult to process. The 4 girls subjected Shanda to hours of brutal torture. Melinda Loveless, fueled by jealousy, led the assault. Lori Tackett was an active and cruel participant, while Hope Rippey and Toni Lawrence, though less physically involved, were present and did nothing to stop the escalating violence. They held Shanda captive, moving her between the Witch's Castle and Lori's home. The group seemed indecisive about what to do next, but their actions grew increasingly depraved. They eventually drove Shanda, who was barely conscious, to a desolate field off a country road. There, in the freezing cold of that January morning, the final, unthinkable act occurred. They ended Shanda's young life in a horrifically violent manner. The girls then left the scene, attempting to clean the car and create alibis, as if they could wash away the events of the night. But their crime was too monstrous to hide. Later that morning, 2 hunters discovered Shanda's remains, and the investigation began immediately. It didn't take long for the police to unravel the web of lies. The girls, one by one, confessed to their roles in the crime. Their accounts, though sometimes conflicting in an attempt to shift blame, painted a clear and terrifying picture of what they had done. The community and the nation were stunned. How could 4 teenage girls, some described as ordinary high school students, commit such a heinous act? The trial exposed the toxic dynamics within the group, the power of peer pressure, and the depths of Melinda Loveless's obsessive jealousy. All 4 girls were convicted for their parts in the crime. Melinda Loveless and Lori Tackett received the longest sentences. Hope Rippey and Toni Lawrence received lesser sentences due to their cooperation and perceived lesser roles, though their complicity was undeniable. The case of Shanda Sharer forced society to confront a difficult truth, that extreme violence isn't exclusive to any age or gender. It left a permanent scar on the town of Madison and served as a tragic lesson about the dangers of bullying, jealousy, and the failure of bystanders to intervene. Shanda's story is a heartbreaking memorial to a life cut short, and a powerful plea to pay attention to the emotional turmoil that can fester in the lives of young people. We remember Shanda not just for the way she died, but for the bright 12-year-old girl she was. Thank you for watching and for helping us keep her memory alive. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime.